Alright, hello, this is Connor Smith, and we are live here for Outrun. Now, Outrun is a racing game for the Sega Genesis way back in the day, back when racing game was a bit of a relative term. Okay, that was an unfortunate choice of buttons. Okay, that's a very unfortunate choice of buttons. Apparently I can't shift up to gear. Oh, I have it. Oh, man. But I will persist. Okay, so basically I have the controls set up so, up is, or no, down is shift up, and I'm assuming up is shift down, but you'd never want to do that. The leftmost button is still accelerate, but then the button right next to it is brake, and I guess the other button's brake. It's not the way I like playing. I like playing with the C button that changes the gears. In fact, I never really liked the racing games where you press like up and down to change gears. I'm gonna realize some games, I mean, you just need that, just because there aren't enough buttons on the gamepad, but still, I mean, it's a little annoying, because like sometimes you're pressing left and right and you press up. That being said, I mean, ultimately the best controller for a racing game is still gonna be a steering wheel, so yeah, do what you gotta do, right? So, I mean, despite all of my talking, one of the better points of Outrun, is that the music. I mean, it sounds amazing. I mean, it only comes with 4 themes, but, well, that's when you want to switch into low gear. But, I mean, back when I was playing this game, like, regularly, I would always play it 4 times over just to hear every single track. In fact, this, the Genesis version has an extra track that the arcade version doesn't. And that one's worth giving a listen to. So right now this is Passing Breeze. It's, I mean, the first one. I think the fan favorite is, of course, Magical Sound Shower, and, well, you can't really hear it now, and I'll get to it eventually, so be sure to listen out for that one. And so the arcade game itself, it's got a lot of scrolling or scaling with the sprites, so the sprites get bigger and smaller. The Genesis version, unfortunately, doesn't have anywhere near as much scaling, and so they just have like big sprites and small sprites, and then things just like appear randomly. The arcade version's a lot smoother as far as what you do, but it's also a lot harder to get. I mean, when's the last time you've seen an arcade machine for sale? This, you just kind of go online on eBay and you just buy it, and it's like a billion guys selling this. So, I think I've got enough time for another run. Now you'll get to hear what the next wonderful soundtrack is. Alright. Now we've got Splash Wave. I think this is my favorite. And pretty high energetic. It picks up towards the end too. Actually, it's really cool because the backgrounds are timed so that they kind of have like different little phases, and then they go through each phase as you go through a stage. So you always kind of hear like the same thing roughly at the same time. So, I mean, when you get to like stage 2, you always hear like a certain sound or a certain part of the soundtrack. It's really weird when you're like listening to this on an MP3 player later, and then you just start imagining that stage, and you're like, dang. It's like you're playing the game. Yeah. Oh, and then another thing that's particularly interesting about this, quote, racing game is that it's got different stages. And I don't just mean, like, you go to level 1, level 2, that's great. If you'll notice last time, I drove to the right on this intersection, and both of these are, like, different, quote, stages. So it kind of branches out, and if you know your,
checkpoint!
If you know your triangle numbers, then you know that this one is 2, the next one is 3, the next one is 4. And then, the right path is typically the harder path, although, I don't know, because if you keep going leftmost, you reach the, desert stage, or Egypt stage, or however politically correct you want to be, and that stage is frigging tough. I don't like that one. It's really tough. Yeah. Actually, it's pretty great. So, I mean, you're pressing the right button to turn, and then you can kind of modulate the strength of your turn just by, like, tapping the button. But it's not completely straightforward. And also, if you just hold it down, then you turn at, like, a certain speed, but sometimes the turns, like, change. It's a trippy game. It's not at all, like... Oh, my God. It's not at all like real racing. Or driving a car, or anything. That being said, it's a very fun game. Just clearly a game. Although, yeah, I've been calling it a racing game, I suppose. It's been termed like a driving game, because that's all you're doing. You're just driving. I mean, you're not really racing anything other than yourself and, like, the clock, but that's about it. And yes! Alright, you get to listen to me talk for like another minute. Oh, man. Yeah, no, that's Outrun. And I mean, it's kind of nice to have like a chill-down game every now and then. You just kind of play and you're like, rocking out to the music. I don't make a whole lot of games like that anymore where you could arguably say that the game is an excuse to have the music. They don't do that a whole lot. It's kind of weird. But, that's what video games have become. Video games and nothing more, nothing less. What's up with that? You need more of that oh man, almost a gender. Cross-medium fun that goes around, where you kind of mix two mediums rather than just stick with one. Where you've got, like, a video game, but then it's also got, like, a movie built in. And I mean, say what you will about FMV screens, but man, those things sometimes... They were pretty cool, and they just, like, added to the game. And I mean, hey, at the end of the day, they were always good for a laugh, so why begrudge them that? Alright, come on, come on. Oh! Oh, man. Clearly I am the best Outrun player ever. But yeah, man, just like... Oh. Okay, yeah, FMV screens. We were talking, like, movies... Oh, I don't know, I'm just imagining, like, MechWarrior throughout the whole time. It's... Right, MechWarrior was the good one, and then MechAssault was the weird one for the Xbox. Which, I mean, it was good, too. I think the only reason you call them bad is because MechAssault, it's not MechWarrior at all. Like, there's no customization, there's no nothing. In fact, it was just kind of like a first-person shooter. And, I mean... First-person shooters, they're okay, but I mean, that was like original Xbox back in the day when there were like shooters were like a dime a dozen. In fact, there was a shooter called like 13. Just numbers 1 through 12 were already taken. They just called it 13. That being said, I heard it was a mildly good game, but it's also a game that kind of was lost to history, so you can only be so good. Oh, but I digress. Let's see. I think I was talking about MechWarrior, and then I was talking about FMV games, and then I was talking about video games that are a combination between, like, two mediums, like audio and then video games, and then I lost. Well, it's been fun, but the cat has got to scat. See you guys later.